Okay, update time. I don't know exactly what I caught on film the other day. I don't think it was very much. I think last I was talking about these sway bar arms. And so I went ahead and made, I just tacked together sway bar links and a sway bar, the tabs and the mount down there. That tab height is pretty high. I don't know if I really like it, but actually I think it's good because it's up and it's out of the way of everything. So we got that done. And then now what I'm going to go ahead and focus on is welding up my bump can mounts, and I'm going to start working on welding up the upper shock mounts. There's going to be some stuff I'm going to need to modify with the upper shock mounts a little bit. Not the mounts themselves, but modify how this top part ties into the roll cage or the X-brace. So I'm going to do some custom stuff there because some of the gaps on there are a little bit big to just weld them directly. And yeah, so I'm going to just focus on trying to get these bump can mounts welded in and the upper shock mounts more solid so that I can go ahead and put this whole chassis on its own weight. And then from there, I plan on doing some more flex testing before I weld up these sway bar arms. There's going to be quite a bit of work in these because there's going to be a spine section that goes across the top of here. That's all going to be fully welded and boxed. And then I'm going to put some 1.25" round tube in these holes across here and weld the outside perimeter. So just to give it torsional strength. And yeah, so yeah, lots of work to do, and that's where we're at. So I'm gonna go ahead and get out the GoPro and start rolling some time lapse. After re-watching this episode, I realized this episode is definitely a milestone. 61 episodes, and I started building this chassis over 2.5 years ago. With everything that's gone on in my life with family issues and health issues and other things in the family, and all the different challenges that have kind of taken me away and then brought me back and then taken me away from this project. I'm very thankful for everything that I have and the help that I have and the support, and I don't know, it sort of just gets me kind of emotional just watching this thing. There'll be a payoff at the end of this episode, and I gave you kind of a teaser in the beginning, but I finally get to roll this thing out of the shop, and that's a major thing for me. That's a major accomplishment because of everything that's happened in the last couple of years and challenges and things that have, kind of stood in my way as a roadblock. So welding this thing out, or welding out these bump stops, is definitely a challenge. There's a lot of weird angles, a lot of ups, overhead position type welding, and starting to get a lot more comfortable with things. And right here, wouldn't you know it, some of what should be the easiest welds, which were downhill vertical welds on these plates, on the back side there, I missed my mark and started running off to the side. Every once in a while I still have trouble seeing with this welding mask, no matter if I put a new lens cover on it or not. I don't know if it's just the brightness or the color of the shade. I've been doing some research, and I'm thinking about maybe getting a newer Lincoln hood. It's between the Lincoln and the Miller hood, and if anybody has experience with I think it's the Lincoln 3350 or the newer Miller digital hood, it's got more of a blue tint to it and it's a brighter shade. I think it would really help me being able to see things in certain conditions. In the shop here, I'm under LED lights, but sometimes it's just it's hard to see with that helmet on, and I don't know if that's just a sign of getting old or if that's the helmet itself. So now I'm in here welding up these joints on the upper shock mount A-frames, or I don't know what you want to call them, but they're just something I spent a lot of time TIG welding on the bench, and it occurred to me after the fact that there's probably a better way to do this. I probably could have fabricated these in place on the buggy, at least gotten them tacked in so that all the joints were super tight and everything wrapped correctly. There's so many different things going on here. You've got joints coming in, or tubes coming in at different angles. You've got square meeting perpendicular. It's just, I don't know, it's a lot. So I was sort of beating myself up about how gappy some of those upper contact points were, but in the end, that part is merely aesthetic, because mechanically this upper shock tower is going to be plenty stout for what it's made for, and it's going to work just fine. So I'm welding things in, then blending with the grinder, and then welding again and blending again. And some of those gaps on the top I filled in with some plate, but in the end the product looks really good. Yeah, back here in the backside there's that area where I folded it back over the tube and had to grind and blend in, and then regrind, and then re-weld, and just filling in gaps here. It's not really structural, it's just aesthetic. So like I said, in the end, after I regrind and blend it in with a grinder, it definitely does put emphasis on the phrase that I'm a great grinder. But no, it's going to be plenty stout, and it looks cool, and it's going to fit in with the rest of the build for sure. Okay, well, I've got these bump can mounts welded in. Might not look like much, but it took me a while. I jumped around back and forth, tried not to put too much heat into them, which I'm notorious for doing. And I did my best. There was a lot of very difficult welding positions, and I haven't cleaned them up yet. I'm gonna let them cool, and then there might be a few areas that I'm gonna have to touch up when I get the chassis taken back apart and flipped over. But yeah, these are all welded up. Now I'm going to focus my attention to these upper shock mounts, start getting those welded in. And I think what I'm going to do, where this little piece here is cantilevered off the back of the tube, I think I'm going to cut this with this cutting wheel, and then just kind of shape it down a little bit. I might cut it in a couple of spots, and over here I'll probably end up making some sort of a gusset mount that kind of, I'm gonna weld this as much as I can, and then this is way too gappy, I can get my finger in there, so I'll make some sort of a gusset mount that kind of comes down here and then wraps around the top. So just little things that you've got to do. You got to bring out the good old ingenuity and fix up, because there's just no way to prepare for all of it. I guess maybe I could have fabricated these in place, but that would have made things a hell of a lot more difficult. So hindsight is 2020. I know now what I would have done, but it's all good. It's all part of the process. So here we go. Well, here it is, folks. She's on her own weight. This is a landmark. This is a landmark? Is that a landmark? Landmark moment. A moment in time. Whatever you want to say. She's on her own weight for the very first time. And she looks badass.
It's not 45 pounds. It's super light. You're scaring me for a minute.
Want to be in the video?
Gotcha.
Fucking badass.